That's what I'm like. Usually the opposite. You get out.
Mute yourself. Let's go.
I did. I already got yelled at. I got chastised. All right. We left off. We got the two dots on top of Nun Vav, Amar Aleph.
Away we go.
Masechah Sukkah. Today is the last daf. I believe tomorrow is Beitza, if I'm not mistaken. Beitza, and I will bring you a proof tomorrow morning. It's Hashem. So you have to show up, and you'll see my proof. You know, it's called Beitza and not referred to as Beya. Fine. Zok the Gemara, 7 lines on top. So we said, and away we go. So we said over there, but it's hard when you quote from Mishnah. So it says, on the holiday of Shavuos, when there's two different types of, there's the quote unquote matzah, as we're going to call it, as the Mishnah called this, referring to the lechem apanim, right, the 12 loaves. And then there was the 2 loaves that were brought on Shavuos, that is chametz, right? So Zak the Gemara, Itamar, we're going to bring a related machlokes and then bring it back to our case. Now, Itamar Rav Omar, when one gets in the sukkah and he makes kiddush in the first night, sukkah v'achar kach zman, one makes a bracha on sukkah, right? V'kadesh Yisrael v'hazmanim, right? And then afterwards he makes the bracha of shechianu, like we do, right? And Rabbi Rechana Omar zman. Right? No, first you say shechianu, and then you make the bracha on sukkah. Actually, sukkah, fine. Second. Right. Actually, this is the bracha of not. This is not the kiddush, right? This is the bracha of leishev, right? Right. Some hold it. It's a mitzvah. Actually, I spoke out. This is Rashi here, right? All right, whatever. Fine. Anyways, so the bracha of leishev versus shechianu, or vice versa, right? And Rabbi Rechana Omar Zman, first you make the shechianu, and afterwards you make the bracha of sukkah on the sukkah itself. Rav Omar Zman, what's the reason? The chiyuv of the yom adif, the chiyuv of the day. Since there's the sukkah holiday, we make that. And Rabbi Rechana Omar Zman sukkah. Why tadir right? So since the bracha of shechianu is more tadir, is more common, therefore you say the more common bracha first. So Lema Rav. So now we're going to first attach this machlokas over there of whether it's the Iker Zman versus Tadir, which one comes first. So Lema Rav Rabbi Rechana looks at the Beis Shammai Beis Hillel. Let's say they are discussing when it comes to machlokas between Beis Shammai Beis Hillel that they're arguing about. The Tanur Rabbanon, we learn Dvarim Shebein Beis Shammai Beis Hillel B'Suda. Amongst the machlokas arguments between Beis Shammai Beis Hillel in a Suda also comes with the bracha of the way we make kiddush Friday nights. First he says Mekadesh Shabbos, and then he makes the bracha of Berei Pri Hagafen. Beis Hillel says like we do. First you make Berei Pri Hagafen, and then you get into the bracha of Ayom. You get to the kiddush. Beis Shammai Omrim Mevarech Alayom V'Achar Kach Mevarech Alayayin. First you make a bracha on the day and then the wine. Why? Shahayom Gerem Layayin. Because the day causes the wine to come. Shiyavah. So since the day, right, if it was Wednesday, right, you wouldn't be making Berei Pri Hagafen. So since it's the Shabbos that brings it, makes you take out the wine. Therefore, you make the bracha on Shabbos first, then you make the bracha on the wine. Shahayom Gerem Layayin Shiyavah Kfar Kiddush Yom. Because the day is already Mekadesh, when you're bringing out the wine. V'adayin Yayin Lo Bo. And the wine even has not come out yet. So in other words, it becomes, once the change of the clock, it's Shabbos, and then you make Kiddush, but Shabbos first. So therefore, Shabbos, you make the bracha on Shabbos first and then the wine. Why? Because the wine, you wouldn't be making Kiddush if you didn't have wine. So since once you have the wine, therefore that causes me to make the Kiddush, therefore it's the bracha on the wine and then the bracha on Kiddush. The davar acher, berachas yayin tadir. Also, the berachas of wine is tadir, right? Which is the so Beis Hillel is saying right? He's saying something similar to that which Rabbi Bar Chana said, right? Rabbi Chana used that svara of tadir. Rabbi Chana tadir, but berachas hayam ain't a tadir, and the berachas hayam, the kiddush is not every day, right? And therefore, tadir 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 kodem. Therefore,
the presumption is that people drink wine every day.
I guess, or it can be or it can be done multiple times a week, right? So Lema Rav, let's say Rav holds like Beis Shammai, who says, right, the Iker is the Yom, right? Like you say Sukkah first, right? Rav Rachana, Rav Rachana says, let's say Beis Hillel, that which is Tadir comes first. Some like Rav would say, no. Anna, I who holds that you make the bracha on Sukkah and afterwards, man, Dami, I think the Beis Hillel. I go like Beis Hillel. Ad kan like Beis Hillel Hasam. The only reason Beis Hillel said up there when it comes to Kiddush on Shabbos, El Shayayin, you're in the Kiddusha Shetamar, right? Because the wine caused the Kiddush. He says to make the bracha on the wine. About Hacha, but over here, Ilav man. If you didn't make Shechianu, Milo Marina on Sukkah, would we still not make a bracha on Sukkah? We would. So therefore, it's not like Sukkah is depending. Over there, one was depending on the other. Over here, the Zman is not dependent, or the Sukkah is not dependent on the Zman. He says, no, I can hold even like Beis Shammai. Over there, the only reason why Beis Shammai says that you make the bracha on the day first, on the kid, right, is because it turns Friday night, the clock turns, therefore it's already Mekadesh Shabbos, and then afterwards you bring out the wine. So therefore you make the bracha on that first. But over here, Ilav Sukkah. If it wasn't for Sukkah, Milo Amrin and Sman, would you not make a bracha of Shechianu? In other words, right, Rashi points out, either person was somewhere not near a Sukkah, he'd still make a Shechianu on the Yantif, right? Every Yantif has a Shechianu. So therefore, it's not causing the other one. So therefore, you'd still make a Shechianu even without the Sukkah. Fine. That was that machlokes over there. Now, Tanan, B'yatzeres. When it comes to Shavuos, we're talking about dividing the chali rolls, right? So we said, our Mishnah said, they used to divide between all the mishmaros, and B'yatzeres, I'm just reading from the so Amilo, Halach matzah, the Halach chametz. Here is your matzah, here is your lechem apanim, here's your 12 loaves from Shabbos, right? Divided, and Halach chametz, here is your chametz, here is your 2 loaves from Shavuos. Now, but over here in this case, the chametz ikr umatzah tafel. Over here, that the chametz is ikr. The main part of Shavuos is the shtei lechem, right? So shtei lechem really is ikr umatzah tafel. V'ktani helach matzah vehelach chametz. Here's your matzah. Here's your chametz. It sounds like the Shabbos is divided first before the Shavuos, even though the ikr hayom is Shavuos, right? Nevertheless, they take they're dividing the Shabbos one first.
The only ones who eat the shtei lechem are the kohanim.
Yeah, it's divided amongst the Ishmaros. He said divided amongst the Ishmaros. That's what we're talking about.
So which would they eat first?
Right, which would they divide first? Which would they give out first? Right. So over there, they gave out the Shabbos first. Right? Even though there wasn't Iker. So the Gemara says...
you're talking about the lechem apanim.
Yeah. Both of them, right? The lechem apanim are divided and the shtei lechem. Right. But the lechem apanim go first. Because tadir she'eno tadir. Right? Which sounds like a kasha to Yufta de Rav. It'll be a kasha and Rav, because Rav was the one who says Iker Diyom Adifa, right? The day, the chametz should come first because that's the Shavuos. Some Rav, no, tonight it's actually close tonight. The time learn a rice of Halach matzah. Here is your matzah. Here's your your lechem, the lechem upon him, and Halach chametz. Here's your shtei lechem. And Abba Shalom, no. Halach chametz. First, you take care of the Shavuos, the shtei lechem. And Halach Matzah, and then you take care of the lechem upon him from the weekly ones that were put out. And Darash Rav Nachum bar Rav Chizda loy kediv Rav Davar Sukkah v'chagach zman. We don't hold like Rav, who says first you make the bracha on the Sukkah, and afterwards make a bracha of Shechianu. El Zman, first make a Shechianu, so afterwards make a bracha of on the Sukkah. And Rosheshes braid Rav Vidi Amar Sukkah v'chagach zman. No, you make the bracha on Sukkah, and afterwards Zman. The Hilchasa and the Lach is Sukkah. The halach is that you first make the bracha on Sukkah and afterwards Zman. Fine. Right? I know it's a little issue when it comes to second day Yantiv, right? You switch it around. Fine. Now, then we said Mishpar Shizman Tavua, whoever's week that was when the holiday fell out, they get all the regular karbanos, the shar karbanos sibur, right? You do the tamid, and it says the dar and davos and karbanos sibur. So lasuye mai, what does that come to include? Lasuye parlam davar. Right, if there was a parallel davar which is brought when the Beis Din makes an erroneous ruling, and the rove of the people follow it, and it was something that potentially could have carried a kares. So therefore, they bring a parlam davar shel tzibur and vasiri avodas kachavim. Also, if there was a false ruling regarding some matter, whether it was avodah zarah or not, and they all did it, and it turns out it was avodah zarah, then they bring the seirei avodas kachavim, and those, if that was done during that week, that is only given to the kohanim whose turn it was that week. And they offer everything. The desserts of the mizbeach, right? Oftentimes, if the mizbeach is idle, right, they don't want to sit idle, so therefore they brought other karbanos, other olos. That was called the kaitz shel mizbeach. That is the dessert of mizbeach, so it wouldn't stand and be idle. Fine. Naya Mishnah, the last Mishnah of the Masechta. So it says Mishnah Yom Tov Hasamach l'Shabbos. If Yom Tov comes out close to on Friday, Bein Lechanel, right, or Bein Achra, or on Sunday, so they have to wait around. Actually, they can't travel back to the Mishmaros, right? They used to go ahead and switch over on Shabbos, right? So, but now they got to come a day early. They got to come Thursday if it's Friday, or they can't leave until Monday. So how you call Mishmaros Shabbos bechiluk lechapanim? Those two groups will be even the lechem apanim. If there was a day in between, in other words, it was on Thursday, and therefore Friday was a short day for them to travel, right? They had to be there, right, and the holiday ended on Thursday, and therefore there's little time for them to travel out on Friday, or it started on Monday, and there's little time for them to get in on Sunday, so they had to come from before Shabbos, right? So Mishmar Shizmano Kavua Hayanaita Eser Chalas. The normal people would go ahead and divide 10 chalas instead of 12. Vamas Akev, and the one who had to stay around, who had to stay longer, Naitel Shtaim would take 2 extra loaves. Uvashayimos Hashana, and during the other days of the year, Hanichnas Natel Sheish Vayetz Natel Sheish. The incoming, the new group, the one who started today, they take 6 loaves, and the one that leaving, they take 6. Obviously, it evens out because they're coming in, they get 6 this week, and then when they leave next week, they get the other 6. And Rabbi Yehuda Aimer Hanichnas Naitel Shevet says, no, those who come in, the new guys, they get 7, and Hayaytse, and then those who are leave get 5. So therefore, they get 7 this week, and next week when they're done with their service, before they go home, they'll take 5 of the loaves. And Hanachnasim Cholkim B'Tzafon, and then when they go ahead and they divide it amongst the Mishmaros, those who are entering, the new people, right, the ones who are now in charge, they divide it in the northern part of the courtyard, Hayaytsin, and those who are leaving, right, their shift is over. They do B'Daram in the south, and Bilga. And Bilga, however, Bilga as a punishment always did it in the south was less chashiv because the north was like you're running the show, but in the south it was less chashiv. V'tavasa kavua, and there were 24 rings in the ground, each one for the mishmar, but their ring was not able to turn, so they could put it in the ground and round it up. Rather, it was fixed there to put the animals' heads for to hold for the shechita. So their ring was fixed as a punishment. The Chalonis Tumen also, they didn't have a little bin, right? They didn't, the little bins we have here, they didn't have their bin for that group as a punishment, which we'll see in the Gemara.
Right, no. So the Mishmar only served 1 week.
Right, twice a year, because it was 24 and 24, right, which is 48, approximately the length of a year. Fine. Zok to Gemara. My melacharahu. What does it mean? If Yontif fell out first or Yontif fell out afterwards. So Ilay Malifna Yom Tov Rishon, if it means that it came before was Yom Tov Rishon. That was the first day of Sukkot, let's say started on Friday. And Le'achron was at the end, it was Yom Tov Achron, and then the last day of Sukkot was on Sunday. So Hainu Shabbos Shabbos Chag. Well, that doesn't make sense because then that Shabbos, we said, is Shabbos Shabbos Chag. That Shabbos is split amongst all 24 Mishmaros because everyone has to be there for Yom Tov. So Ella, rather, what does it mean? Lifanaha Yom Tov Achron means before. It means the last day of Sukkot was Friday, right? Alachrel Yom Tov Rishon, and then after it, now if it was Sunday, means the first day, as Sukkot started on Sunday, right? But not, but Shabbos wasn't part of the holiday, and therefore that Shabbos is not divided amongst all 24 Mishmaros. Rather, only the incoming and the outgoing. My time. What's the reason? since they had to come early or they had to stay late, depending on which day it was an extra day. They had to come Friday. It was a 2-day holiday. They could. So therefore, since they had to be there anyways together, we said, it'd be nice if they sit and eat together. And if there's one day in between, right, then they go ahead and they divide. But normally it goes 7, 5, or 6, 6. My focus in Rabbi Yehuda and the Rabbanan. Turn the page on Nun Vav Amud Beis. So Vahani Tarti Mavidi Sayu. That which Rabbi Yehuda says, the incoming gets 7, the outgoing gets 5. So the incoming gets more. Why do they get more? So Rabbi Yitzchak Bischar Hagavas Delatos, because the ones in the morning they open up the gates, but the guys were leaving. But the ones that were leaving they open up the gates because they started in the morning, as we'll soon see when the transition was. But the newcomers, they're the one who closed the gates. So since they had to finish up the work of the morning guys, right? So therefore, the incoming people, they had a little more work. Therefore, they get the extra loaves. I have a name of late, dal badal. Why don't they just say, okay, well, it doesn't make sense because next week you're going to be in the morning, so everyone does the same work. You just do 6 and 6. What's the big deal, right? Samar Abaye, butzina tava mikra. So he said, no, sometimes it's better to get a small gourd better than a big one. In other words, you have something right now, better take something small now than wait for it to go ahead and get bigger and bigger, and who knows what will happen to it. Better just to take now. You're doing a little extra work now, so I'm going to take the 7 now, right? The 7 loaves now, even though next week, a week later, I'm only going to have 5, right? Amr Rav Yehuda Musaf and Cholki. They divide the musaf. Not only do they divide the loaves, as we described, but they also divide the musafin. Meisvei Asakasha on this. Mishmar Yitzis Tamid Shachar Umusafin. The mishmar that's leaving, in other words, they were there the entire week. They were working Shabbos morning. Okay, this is our last morning. They do the Tamid Shel Shachar. They bring the morning Tamid and the Musaf and the extra karbanos that are brought for Shabbos. And mishmar and Ichneses, and then now the new Shiva comes in. Tamid Shel Ben Abayim. They do the afternoon Tamid, and they also offer the frankincense, the Bezichin. But it doesn't say anywhere that they divide the Musafin. It just says, the morning people brought it. So Gemara says, no, hi Tana b'chalukah loy kamari. This Mishnah is not dealing with dividing. So yeah, they divided. They just wasn't talking about dividing. It was just talking who offered it. So okay.
Where is
the 2 spoons on top.
Right, but where is it burned?
On the outer or the inner?
Outer is there. Not the inner.
Right, the Ketores is brought on the inside. The Chavitza, right? Fine, the Kohen Gadol Chavitza.
It's done with the Tamid Shel Ben Arbai.
Right, because that was brought with the that was brought. I mean, as it says, that was brought by the incoming, the new guys. And Amarava Tanat Shmuel, Damari Bechaluka, Okay, well, there's actually another brayso that was taught by Tanat Shmuel. And they were discussing dividing, and they never mentioned dividing the Musafin, right? The Tanya debate Shmuel Mishmar Hayit, the one who's leaving though is the guys whose last morning it is Oisei Tamid Shel Shachar Musafin. They bring the morning Tamid and the Musafin. Mishmar Nichneses, the one that's coming in, they do Oisei Tamid. Excuse me, they do Oisei Tamid Shel Ben Abayim V'Zichin. They do the afternoon one and the Bezichin, and Arba Kohanim Hayu Nichasim Sham. And 4 Kohanim will come in, 2 from each Mishmar. And they divide the lechem upon. That's the end of the brayso. But it doesn't mention anything about dividing the musafin, right? The parts that the kohanim would eat of the musaf offering doesn't say they're divided. It seems to be that it goes with the morning group. So tiyuvta Rav Yehuda and Rav Yehuda. And then we said, those who enter, they eat in the north. The new coming group, they eat in the north. So people will see that they're the ones who are in charge. They're in the north. The people who are leaving, who work the entire week, they divide theirs in the south, and they in order that people see that they are the outgoing Mishnah. And Bilgo always divided as a punishment, right? That's like the worst location, because most of the action usually took place in the northern part, right? Was in the south. Now, Tanur Rabbanan, Maisa but Miriam Bas Bilga. So what was the reason why Bilga was punished? So Maisa but Miriam Bas Bilga. One time it was Maisa Miriam, who was the daughter of Bilga. Shemira Data, that she went off the derech. The Halchavani says the Sardiut Echad. She went ahead and married some Greek officer. She came to the Heichal. Haisa Mebetes Besandala Agamis Bech. She took her shoe, her sandal, and she hit the Mizbech. Ve'amar Loikus, right? So she basically cursed like locust, like a consumer, right? And Mother Atam Achlam and Mother Yisrael, right? How long are you going to go ahead and consume the money of the Jews, right? All they do is pay for animals and offer animals, pay for animals, offer animals. And you don't help them when they need. When the Chachamim heard that what she did, kavu as tabasa v'sadvas chalona. They punished and said, you know what? Your ring is going to be in the ground, right? The ring for this mishmar, and we will seal up their little cubby. And some say some say no. What that wasn't the reason why Bilga was punished. The reason why Bilga was punished because they used to always come late. The Nichnas Yishavev Achiv Imo, and Yishavev used to come in early in order to go ahead and do the Aksar Vashimesh Tachta and go in Bilga's place. And obviously, Shechina Rashayim Lani stuff. And even though we normally say that the neighbors of Rashayim are not rewarded, Shechina Bilga Nish Tachra. Nevertheless, the Shechinim, the what's it called? The neighbors of Bilga were punished, were rewarded. Why? Because if Bilga didn't do it, someone else had to do it. And if you do more of the avoda, that's a reward, right? To do more of the avoda in the mikdash, right? Because the one who comes afterwards, when the one who's coming in, right, is supposed to be the north, and the Yishavi is in the south. Nevertheless, they always got the south, so therefore, they were in the north twice. So therefore, they were Yishav was rewarded, right? So without Yishav and the Yishav, the brother or the fellow Maimon would be in the north. Now, a couple more lines. So I understand according to this said, well, what did Bilga do wrong? He used to come late. So he punished the entire Mishmar. It makes sense. I understand because his daughter went off to derech, so therefore we're going to go ahead and punish because the father of the entire Mishmar. Right? No, because what a child says in public, basically, they heard it at home. So therefore, the mother and the father, because of the action of the parents, and therefore, since the action of the parents, so therefore, that's the reason why we say that the entire mishmar was punished. I will stop here. So tonight, let's say, we'll stop here. Let's just.